The following podcast contains spoilers for Phantasm. You have been warned.
What's up, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of KFR News Radio. This is your host, Glenjamin Button, along with your host, Miguel. I'm a Gusto.
Ooh, I like that one. I don't
didn't
know what
honestly.
you did, but
I don't know how my throat did that.
I don't either. It was, I don't even know how to describe it, but it happened.
Phantasmic.
It happened, and I liked it. But how are you, Glenn?
Not bad. Listen, I watched some movies, man.
That's what I see.
I tried to go out of my way to impress you, and you know what you did? You shit on my toilet, dude. Directly into it. Like
Into
a good
it or
boy.
on it?
Into it.
Okay.
Directly
okay.
into it.
Yeah. That's what I do. I mean, that's all I ever do.
That's what a big boy's potty trained to do.
You got other quote-unquote hobbies like video games and streaming
I know, it's terrible.
and TV shows.
I know. Oh, my God.
But yeah, I watched a shit ton of movies this week, but we'll get into that in a bit.
Mm-hmm.
You go first. What movies? How many movies and what movies?
Let's see. I said 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 total. One of them being the movie that I picked. But we started out with an Ang Lee film. Holy shit. Whipped it out of the park with this one called Lust, Caution.
I have not seen that, but I've been wanting to.
I saw that you didn't see it. I'm like, I'm gonna beat him to it. And actually, it was a really good film. It was like about a group of these I won't exactly say school kids, just like they're teenagers about to get out of high school, and World War II's going on, and they're all like actors, like in plays and stuff, and they're like, we have a tip that one of the men my cousin's is friends with is he's like an informant for like somebody else, for the Germans or something like that, and they go and they act like people, like, you know, higher up people. They act like to infiltrate, get close to the man, and fucking kill him. And the one chick, and it's really, really good. She doesn't know whether it's love, whether it's lust, or whether she's
caution.
being or caution. And it's really, really nice film. It's really good. Little bit of sex in there, but like Ang Lee does it is how it's like, it's good. It's not just like over the top ridiculous, like it doesn't belong there.
Yeah, he's pretty classy with how he films that kind of stuff.
So like, although they may be having crazy erotic sex, it feels like it should be there, you know?
Yes, exactly.
And from that point, I'm gonna stab that with a pen and move on. Next up, I watched Peanut Butter Falcon, which is the Shia LaBeouf film that he was in, along with Zach Gottsagen and Dakota Johnson. I don't know if that's actually how you say Zach's
I think it's
last name,
Gottsagen, but I'm not 100% sure.
But yeah, that was a great film. It was very, very minimal cast, which was really nice. Like you weren't with anybody for too long. That wasn't just like meant to be there.
You got some classic wrestlers in there.
And
Thomas
wrestling
Hayden
going
Church,
on.
who's not a wrestler, but he's a great actor.
Yeah, absolutely. So it was good to see him in there. And yeah, that was a fantastic film.
That's some
Really-
good, wholesome fun there.
Yeah,
That
it really
movie.
is.
I love
It
that
really
movie.
is. And after that, I rewatched Vanilla Sky. For some reason, I keep finding myself in a habit of accidentally watching every year. I don't know why. I want to hate it, but it's such a good movie that I can't. Like,
I haven't
it's
seen
not
that
it's
either.
not bad in any direct way. Like, it's a fantastic film,
Yeah.
but like, I don't know how I feel about the ending and everything with it.
Well, I have no opinion on the matter because I have yet to see it.
Yeah, I want you to watch it. I want to talk to you about it completely.
Where
but
did
I'm
you
not,
watch that? I might check it out.
Amazon, I think.
Amazon?
Actually,
Okay.
I don't think you can watch it now. I literally watched it the last second, which was like another reason why I was like, oh, I got like an hour and a half to watch this. Good news, it's 2 hours.
I'm sure they wouldn't cut it off halfway through, though.
Yeah, it'll come around again. It's been on multiple platforms here. It was
Yeah.
on Netflix when I originally watched it. So the next one that I watched after that was called A Good Woman, directed by Mike Barker. It's got the reason why I watched it's got Scarlett Johansson and Helen Hunt, and I'm like, that could be good. Like young Scarlett Johansson, not like like in her 20s.
Not old Scarlett Johansson.
Not old Scarlett Johansson.
With all her wrinkles.
Basically, I think it's a movie that you would hate. Absolutely.
Oh, yeah?
It was just a more or less boring concept. Basically, it's about this character, Helen Hunt, who comes into a town where Scarlett Johansson is currently living with her newlywed husband, and just a lot of gossip and drama involves around as soon as this new woman comes around. Her husband just died, and she just came into a bunch of money and stuff like that. It's very drama-filled, very gossip-filled, and it doesn't exactly pull through, in my opinion. It's not really a heavy-hitting kind of thing.
Yeah. So like it's slow, but it also doesn't earn the slowness.
Yeah.
Okay.
It entertained maybe an hour and a half of my life, and then I was just like, okay, I didn't hate myself after watching it. It was okay. It was just a watch, you know.
Yeah.
So that was fine. And then the last one that I watched before Phantasm was The Good Shepherd with Matt Damon, Angelina Jolie, Alec Baldwin, Robert De Niro. Freaking the whole gang is in here. Directed by Robert De Niro.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was huge. I didn't even know that going into it. Blew my mind. I actually really liked this movie.
Oh yeah, that movie has one of the most shocking sequences, which I won't get into because it's towards the end.
Mm-hmm.
I could get into you with off the recording, but it has. Like, it gets a lot of flack probably because it's Robert De Niro directing it, and it might be underwhelming given that fact.
Yeah.
But I really enjoyed it, and it's got some very memorable stuff that, like, even though I don't remember a lot of the movie, I remember a certain sequence, and that's rare that can happen.
Yeah.
Where like it sticks with you that much.
I find myself really liking, because I've only watched a handful of the kind of like spy, CIA, FBI stuff, but like a movie like this one, The Good Shepherd, and then Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy, where you kind of just sit there, you think, and you watch instead of just like all this action happening and stuff. They're really powerful movies because shit kind of happens in real life.
Yeah.
And it's really cool to just watch stuff like that. And the cast, it was phenomenal in this movie, and they really just brought it home, especially Matt Damon. And what's the one guy's name? I know you're gonna hate me saying this, but he played like the General in like The Incredible Hulk. Like it's the most recent one. Or like
William Hurt.
William Hurt. Yeah, he's not in the casting right there on Oh, there it is. Fucking, are you kidding me, Glenn? Hello? Are you blind? Anyway, William Hurt was great into it as well. But yeah, for me, that's all I saw besides Phantasm. Mike, what did you see, my baby boy?
What was your count again?
6 overall.
6,
with Phantasm.
You were trying with 6.
I went out of my way.
I mean, you got pretty close to me. I watched a total of 19 movies.
Holy shit, dude! It also got really bad considering now Letterboxd lets you share
oh my God.
the movies you watched.
I'm probably
Instagram
annoying
stories.
everyone that follows us on Instagram with that, but you know
so
what?
Like now I see Mike's it's
around.
constantly popping. I'm like, maybe I should watch a movie.
Honestly, that's the only reason I've been sharing them is I'm hoping to urge you. Anyway, 19. I'm not going to get into too much detail with a lot of them. One of them was a rewatch, but it's a rewatch I want to talk about. So the first one I watched is Sleepy Hollow. Tim Burton in the 90s, that was probably the 90s and late 80s was probably his peak. So Sleepy Hollow was good.
Yeah, it's one of the ones that I rewatched for Halloween.
Yeah, it's a solid movie. It holds up. Then I watched a documentary called American Murder: The Family Next Door, which is really sad. There's a lot of people talking about it now because apparently people think they see a ghost in that, but it's really just some girl's daughter, some woman's daughter, walking around.
Interesting.
But apparently the house that the murder happened is haunted, so
Jesus.
I can see why people are trying to see ghosts in the documentary. Then I watched a horror movie, which I was actually going to pick for my pick last week, but then I went with Invasion of the Body Snatchers. It's a movie on Netflix called Sweetheart. It is like Castaway meets did you ever see The Host?
Yeah, absolutely.
The Korean movie?
Yeah.
That's the only thing I can think of just because it's a water-based monster that tries to eat people.
Yeah.
But it's like she's by herself on an island. It's really solid up until... Like, it would have been really good if it kept going the way it was going for the majority of it, and then it kind of changes halfway through. and is kind of gets a little worse, but it's still pretty good. I do suggest seeing Sweetheart, which is on Netflix.
Okay.
Then I watched The Polka King with Jack Black, which is based on the true story of a Pennsylvania polka singer who was also defrauding a bunch of people, whether it was on purpose or by accident because he doesn't know how American economics works.
Yeah.
Is remains to be seen. The way it's told in the movie is that he was doing it on accident and then just kept going to do it on purpose once he found out. But he was legitimately trying to help them, but just wasn't at the same time. So that's a really good movie, Polka King. Then I watched a 2011 prequel for The Thing,
Okay.
which is so similar to The Thing, and like I don't even understand why they call it the prequel. There's a little bit of difference, but like they even have like a dog that changes. It's a whole thing. It's a solid movie. It's obviously not as good as the Kurt Russell one.
Yeah.
But it's solid. The CGI is terrible, but
I think for me, everybody hated that movie. Still hates that movie.
I don't think it deserves the hate, but it's definitely not amazing.
I think the CGI is definitely bad, but the cast and the story is there. You always wanted to know what happened before the Kurt Russell part happened.
Yeah.
And so that kind of delves into it. I love Joel Edgerton. I almost love everything he's in. So he was great.
Mary
as well.
Elizabeth Winstead.
Oh,
she's
absolutely.
Great.
And then, you played it in surround sound in your.
Oh my God! It was so
haunted
creepy.
You.
So creepy. I love it. I gotta have you over to watch something like that. So then I signed up for the Criterion channel, which is a bunch of movies that are part of the Criterion collection, which is a bunch of rarer movies. I don't like using the word rare in today's because you can find anything if you look hard enough. But they have movies that are harder to find, foreign movies, older movies from first time directors. So I watched The Virgin Suicides with Kirsten Dunst. Which is directed by Sofia Coppola.
That is one of those movies that I remember my mom watching. It's like one of those, like Phantasm, what we're about to talk about. It's one of those movies that I have distinct memories of, but I never recalled it in my whole life.
Yeah, it's real. I really enjoyed it. It's a very good movie. It's a little cringy just because teenagers are cringy. That's not to say it's not realistic. It's just teenagers in general are cringy. Even the ones today, which are hotter than we were as teenagers, unequivocally hotter than us. They somehow know fashion. They are still very cringy. It's just a thing that'll never go away. But yeah, that was The Virgin Suicides. I enjoyed it. Then I watched Get Duked, which I told you to watch. I doubt you did not watch it, though.
I did not get to watch it.
It's a really funny English dark comedy about these boys who are kind of like stupid, and they, as a punishment, they are forced to go on this thing called the Duke of Edinburgh Award, which is like a camping, hiking challenge that you get an award at the end if you do, and then they start getting hunted, and it's really fucking funny.
You know what's right? I think this. I don't mean to bring my other hobby into this, but this was an ad on Twitch for a good couple months.
Yeah,
for a little bit there, a couple months ago. So I mean, I know about it. I just gotta watch it.
It's really solid. The way it's really stylized, kind of like it reminded me a lot of like Guy Ritchie's earlier films, but modernized. The kids in it, all except for one, are really stupid, but it adds to the comedy. Like they realize things like 10 minutes after they should have realized it, but it's told it's displayed in such a way that it makes it seem like it wasn't completely obvious. Like it's very tongue in cheek, which I like. So that's Get Duked. Highly suggest everyone watches that on Amazon Prime. Then I watched the new animated Addams Family movie because I figured why not? I already watched the other two Addams Family movies. It's okay. It's
as expected.
Yeah, it's as expected. It's definitely dumbed down for kids. Not that like the Addams Family is super smart, but it's definitely like brightened and given bright colors and made way goofier than it should be for the kids, which is understandable because it's made for kids, whereas the 90s movies are a little more, they're family oriented, but they're, for older audiences, not like 4 or 5 year olds. Then I watched The Crazies, which is a George A. Romero movie from the 70s. There was a remake of that in 2009, I want to say, maybe 2010. It's a really, really good movie. It holds up really well. don't really have much to say other than that. Then I watched Phantasm. We'll get into that. Then I watched Summer with Monica, Ingmar Bergman movie from the 50s. And I have that Ingmar Bergman collection, and I've been watching them in order as suggested by the Criterion Collection. It's not in order of release, but it's like they curated this experience for you. And this was the first one that I really, really enjoyed. They've all been good, but this one...
This is the first one you really actually...
Yeah, this one like hits really hard because it's about this woman who is kind of abused by everyone around her.
Yeah.
I mean, she's not raped. They hint that she was raped, but she's not on screen. But she's definitely harassed and assaulted at work. And then she kind of just takes this boy who she kind of likes down with her by going on the lam and going on a trip and kind of trying to get off the grid and everything. And it's really powerful. It's fantastic movie. It's I can't say more about it, you know, without giving too much away, but it's a great movie. Summer with Monica, that's what that's called. Then I watched Sabotage, which is an Alfred Hitchcock movie from the 30s, back when he was still making films in London. Really good movie, as always, with Hitchcock. Very intense. And yeah, check that out. Then I watched Death Becomes Her, which is with Meryl Streep. Oh, man, what's Kurt Russell's wife's name? God, I can't remember.
Goldie Hawn.
Goldie Hawn and Bruce Willis. Where
this is another one of those movies that I remember watching my mom watch a lot.
Yeah, it's fun. I mean, Bruce Willis plays the husband of Meryl Streep, who was going to marry Goldie Hawn in the beginning. Then Goldie Hawn comes with a plan to try to kill Meryl Streep, and she dies. But she had also taken this potion that keeps her alive. Yeah. And it's goofy.
It's a very animated movie.
Yeah, it's very animated.
Not in the sense that it's animated.
Very
literally.
Tim Burton-esque, but without being Tim Burton. Then I watched Enola Holmes with Millie Bobby Brown, Henry Cavill. And
how was that?
It's good. It's fine. Okay. It's not like amazing, but it's a solid movie.
Kept debating. I only wanted to see it because of literally Henry Cavill.
Yeah,
and his muscles.
It's a good movie. It's definitely made for younger audiences, which again I have no problem with. But it's like younger audiences. I mean, like teenagers, not kids, because there is a brutal scene in it that it legitimately shocked me that it happened.
Okay,
I was like, oh,
whoa, wow,
wow. So that's Enola Holmes. Then I watched Save Yourselves, which is a sci-fi comedy horror about these aliens. This couple tries to go off the grid, you know, get away from cell phones and stuff. So they go to this cabin, and while they're on the way to the cabin, and after they've already turned off the phones and everything, aliens invade. But the aliens are these cute little spherical fluff balls that just...
They're just magical Furbies.
Yeah, they drink gasoline and alcohol. And they kill humans too, but like they don't feed off humans. They don't feed off the humans, but it's you know, them trying to survive and trying to figure out what's going on while being off the grid. It's got some really funny moments. It's really solid movie. I enjoyed it. Okay. Then I watched The Frighteners, which is a Peter Jackson movie from '96. With Michael J. Fox. I really enjoyed it. He plays this psychic medium that can see ghosts and is trying to solve this mystery of all these people dying of crushed hearts, not even heart attacks, just crushed hearts.
Yeah.
Really enjoyed it. It's a great movie. Highly suggest it. Then, for people who know me, I'm a huge Tremors fan.
Absolutely.
Oh, sorry, to go back a couple days, I rewatched The Vast of Night. Everyone should watch The Vast of Night. Upon my second viewing, I decided it's my favorite movie of the year so far. So, I don't know if that means anyone.
Is that the one you told me to watch as well?
Yeah, The Vast of Night. Okay. It's like a sci-fi movie that's kind of like The Twilight Zone. But anyway, going back to Tremors, Tremors' newest installment, Tremors Shrieker Island, came out on Netflix. It's got... the guy who plays Burt Gummer, whose name I'm forgetting, but then also has John Heder from Napoleon Dynamite. And it's a bad monster movie, but it's fun. And I think Tremors fans will really like it. So if you're a fan of Tremors, watch it.
I say I've always loved 1 and 2, but after that, it kind of just fell off.
Oh yeah, I agree. I've watched them all just because they hold a special place in my heart. But then I watched In a Valley of Violence, that is with Ethan Hawke. And John Travolta, Karen Gillan, Tessa Farmiga. and it is essentially John Wick if it took place in the West.
Oh wow.
And I really enjoyed it. It's a solid movie.
John Wicker.
John Wicker Basket. But yeah, it's that's on Netflix as well, In a Valley of Violence. But yeah, that's all I watched.
Oh, that's all?
That's all I watched.
That's all?
I was trying to go for 20, but it didn't pan out too well. Mainly because I thought about going for 20 a little bit too late. I thought about going for 20 this morning, and I was like, oh, I can't make it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you valiantly almost got there. So.
Almost got there, yep. Those are all the movies I watched. I honestly think we should probably skip news this week. Nothing, unless you have something big.
I mean, I could say something real quick, but that's literally it.
Yeah, go for it.
Adam Sandler is this is like the third time in like 2 weeks, I think I've talked about him. He's filming his new movie at Coatesville High School Gym, which is pretty dope for anybody who's from high school.
From high school.
From high school, literally from high school with me.
He's been filming in Philly the past few weeks. I didn't know he was coming to Coatesville, though.
I mean, it's kind of annoying to see it all over Facebook. He's like, he's filming in Coatesville!
Yeah.
Holy shit! It's just like, calm down, dude. You haven't been there or cared about school since like
or cared about
2010.
Adam Sandler.
Relax. I mean, that's awesome that he's there. Apparently, Coatesville's getting a new school board, like a scoreboard and a little bit of cashola. But so that's a pretty cool thing, and we can just move on from there.
That was kind of like when Kate Winslet came.
Coatesville's having a banger.
She shot in Coatesville and in Phoenixville, which kind of, gets both of us off the list.
Yeah.
And yeah, I actually passed her shoot one day. I didn't see her, but I saw like the film trucks and everything.
Yeah, I didn't even know when they were filming. So we were actually just talking about it Saturday. I was like, did Kate Winslet ever stop by or what happened?
Yeah.
They're like, yeah, they're done.
Yeah, they didn't even block off the street when they were filming. They were just there. I'm assuming she was in her trailer or whatever, but I saw all the lights and the cameras and everything. Yeah. It was really cool. But yeah, let's get into Phantasm.
Is it an evil?
You have to take me home.
But why?
No questions. You must take me home.
Phantasm. A teenage boy and his friends face off against the mysterious grave rotter, Robert Rodder, known only as the Tall Man, who keeps a lethal arsenal of terrible weapons with him. Directed by Don Coscarelli, written by the same man, stars A. Michael Baldwin, Bill Thornberry, Reggie... Wait, is Reggie? I never even noticed. Reggie is Reggie.
Yeah.
Reggie Bannister is Reggie, Kathy Lester, and who's the tall man? There he is. Angus Scrim, which, honestly, they could have went with that name, and I'd still be scared of the man.
Yeah, honestly, it's a scarier name than the Tall Man.
Yeah.
Mainly just because I'm tall as well, so it's not that scary.
So yeah, we've got Phantasm.
Phantasm, yeah. So I remember last week you said that you had a very vivid memory of a specific scene that scarred you. Care to share what that scene was?
So it actually wasn't from this movie. I think it was one of the
sequels. Okay.
But I remember like vividly a scene, and I was like, and that's just been stuck with me. Not like really scarred, just like, what is that fucking movie like scarred?
Oh, okay, and I got you.
It's like I assume like they go through like a portal of some sort, like they kind of did in this movie, which we'll get to. And it's like the sand dune, and then there's like these deadly balls just chasing people in like these sand dunes. I have to figure out what it is, because literally I don't know what the fuck it is, and I can't type that into Google and it'll be like, oh yeah, let me help you out. And apparently Google is also Sylvester Stallone. So so yeah, this movie, I do remember parts of it, but not like scarring parts. Yeah, so this movie, let's jump into it.
So also, the first thing I want to talk about is that opening awkward sex scene. Mainly because the angles don't match up.
Yeah, the angles of one of them had a penis, and it was definitely not the one that was on the bottom getting rammed.
I mean, he might have as well.
Had to have been the lady.
But
because they were in missionary position, and the way they were both laying is not.
But no, but they not only were they in missionary, but she was also sitting on top of him at the same time. Just with the way it was edited, when they showed her close up, she was sitting on top of him. But when they showed their legs coming out from behind the grave, they were definitely in missionary.
Yeah,
and it just made no goddamn sense. And also, the sexy ladies, the tall man.
Yeah.
The
Yeah,
fuck?
she literally every zoom in shot it cut back between the guy and then back to the girl, and every zoom in of the girl it turned slowly
Yeah.
into the
And
tall
also,
man.
I never understood why.
Holy
Like, do
shit!
people just regularly have sex in graveyards? Is that like a common occurrence?
Have
to
you
the point?
not?
No, I can say that. Have you ever
Disgusting.
smelled a graveyard?
Yeah, I mean, I don't ever have sex in a graveyard unless I'm deadly serious about it. I'll leave now. I'll see you later. Yeah, so that was just really an awkward whole part. And like I expected to see some booby right off the bat because it's like a 80s film or 70s, so
70s, yeah.
you expect right away.
You said it
like
last
in-
week. Who am I going to see naked?
That's exactly what I said for Invasion of the Body Snatchers. I'm like, when am I going to see some boob? Not like
Yeah.
asking for it. I'm just like, I know. And like right off the
Yeah.
bat, it was like this.
An R-rated horror movie, it's bound to happen, especially from the 70s. Well, I mean, specifically the 70s and 80s, not so much nowadays. But I am not sure how I felt about this movie. Like, it was very impressive
Yeah.
for the most part, but I found it more annoying than enjoyable, if that makes sense.
Yes, there's a lot of factors in this that make it so. I think the story overall of it is solid.
Yeah.
Just the way it was executed was not. Especially when you grasp the concept of the cast itself. If we should start on that, none of these, and there's no offense poking here, but none of these guys are actually good actors.
Yeah.
in my opinion, in any slight of the way, except for Reggie. He was outshining the fuck out of everyone here.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know
he
what
was
it
the
was.
most natural.
Yeah.
He didn't seem like he was
Just
saying
reading off a
lines.
piece of paper or anything
Yeah.
like that.
And he definitely had the best delivery out of all of them.
Yeah.
I think Mike, the kid, was the closest second, but it's also by a country mile.
Yeah.
Where it's just it's the worst of stereotypical horror acting, in my opinion. Like Texas Chainsaw Massacre, there's a lot of bad acting in that, but when
Yeah.
it needs to be good, it is good.
yeah.
Mainly because the director tortured his cast. But I digress. It's horror movies are known for having bad acting, and it's no secret that most horror movies people don't go to see for the acting. So I do understand why this is still pretty popular, but like the acting to me was just so bad it was distracting.
Yeah, it was very hard to keep going, especially since the runtime was only an hour and a half, and it
Yeah.
felt like so much longer because you're more or less mulling through it.
Yeah.
I
And
understand why it's so iconic, but it's tough.
yeah, it's definitely got some great effects, like the flying sphere, the cut off fingers that turn into a fly. Even though that fly was kind of goofy, but it was cool
Like
at
a
the same
just
time.
mega death fly.
But at the same time, then they just have these little people in hoods, like they're sand people from Star Wars.
Yeah.
And it's just it doesn't, they don't build a whole world very well. They have specific elements which are great.
They have it there, and it just felt like they kind of pushed it in instead of like building around it.
Yeah, but yeah, it's just the first hour was just so excruciatingly slow, and then it definitely picks up once shit starts going down. But it just, the pacing is all off to me. But it's also one of those movies where I see why people like it. There's enough there to like. Honestly, there's enough there for me to maybe one day watch the sequels. I'm not going to be rushing to them.
Yeah.
But if they're available for streaming, and I don't have to pay.
And I don't know if any of them are on I mean, obviously I should get to this later, but I think some of them might be on Amazon,
Yeah,
or at least two is, and that looked like it might be better.
yeah. I mean, this is with cheap horror movies. I've heard, I don't know for sure, but I've heard the second ones are often better just because they usually get the budget required to make them better. But it's just I really went into this with high hopes, positive vibes, all that shit. I was in the mood for some 70s horror, especially after Invasion of the Body
Holy
Snatchers.
shit! Speaking of budget, its budget was 300,000 and it grossed almost 12 million.
Oh, damn.
So Jesus.
Yeah.
Anyway, so yeah, about going into this.
Yeah, going into this, I had high hopes and was actually looking forward to watching more 70s horror, especially after Invasion of the Body Snatchers, and then I just was left disappointed.
Yeah, you really have to filter through all the good stuff, and I know this is iconic in its own right, but
I understand why it's iconic.
Yeah.
Like I didn't even know this movie exists, but I knew of Angus Scrimm as the tall man. Like I was familiar with that character. I couldn't tell you where it was from, but I was familiar with the character.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you know, this series has a history and like the iconicism. I don't even know if that's an actual word, but I'm sure the sequel might be better. I'll probably actually get that around to that this week, just because I want to find that fucking scene with the sand dunes and the balls. But I don't know what other series could have it. So yeah, I mean, as far as the special effects went, I thought they were practical effects more like it. I thought they were great. The acting's really the only thing that held us back in the script and the world building. But other than that, I loved him as the tall man. He's fucking haunting. And I mean, I liked the world building if they got it right, which I'm sure they did in the sequels. So I'm looking forward to checking that out.
Yeah, it's definitely. I feel like while I didn't like this movie, it definitely at least gave me curiosity to see the rest of them, which for a movie I didn't like, that's pretty impressive. I will give it that.
Also, I just want to see Reggie in the next movie, man. Reggie,
he's
Reggie
in all
was
of them,
strictly
apparently.
the reason why. Yeah, I think all of them are pretty much.
Yeah.
But Reggie was like the main reason. I'm like, Reggie better stay alive. Oh my God, is he alive? I don't know if he's alive. Oh, maybe.
And now is in the other ones, is he alive but bad?
Yeah, who knows?
Who knows?
Who knows?
Who knows? But yeah, I'm not upset that I watched this. Like I didn't feel like it was time wasted.
Yeah.
Definitely a classic, and I understand why it's a classic. Overall, it just wasn't my scene, really.
Yep.
But I am probably gonna watch the sequels at some point.
I mean, I'll even let you know if they're any better, because I might watch one tonight. Who knows?
Who knows?
I gotta watch 20 films now just to catch up.
You do. You definitely got to watch The Vast of Night and Get Duked.
Yeah.
I would prefer you watch those before Phantasm, but you know what? You live your own life.
I was just say I got a week, buddy. It's okay.
Yeah, you got a week. You got anything else to say about this?
I don't really think so, to be honest.
Okay.
It's no.
The last thing I will say before we move on to the judgment is the actress. I don't even know if she had a name, who was like the granddaughter of the fortune teller in the beginning. She was the worst actress.
I was hoping that she would redeem herself and like pop up. It would make more sense to me personally if like Mikey or Mike, whatever the kid's name was, if he like went back to them, like if they had a second occurrence, but like they didn't. It was only really in the beginning.
Yeah. And was she one of the girls that was in the car?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. But yeah, she was just horrible. She was awful. Like when she came on screen, I was like, oh, it's this kind of movie.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's all I got to say. So I guess we should get into the judgment.
Oh, yeah.
Glenn, this is your film, so you get to decide first whether or not it makes it onto the KFR shelf.
No. I was trying to give it like a little structured thing. Be like, hey, it's understood for its iconicism, which is a word I still don't know. I'm just going to keep using it regardless. But I don't think it was good enough to uphold a shelf. I think maybe a sequel, I'll check it out. Maybe it could be on the shelf someday, but I don't think this one in particularly deserves to be on it, other than how it is inspired by a lot of people's hopes and dreams, which is nightmares.
Yeah, I would agree. I don't think it deserves it. That's not to say that none of the sequels will make it on. I'm of the mindset to hold every film on its own, regardless of if it's a sequel or not. And I feel like most people would probably enjoy movies more if they did that as well. But most people like to consider things as a whole.
Yeah.
I'm not all about that. I like finality in my stories. But yeah, this does not make it onto the shelf with the likes of Apostle and Handmaiden. So that does it for Phantasm. Let's move on to our plugs. Glenjamin Button, what are you plugging this week?
So, I overheard a birdie doesn't like synthwave that much. So, so go ahead and tell your little story, buddy.
So it's not that I don't like synthwave. I'm not a huge fan of it, but I don't dislike it. What I don't like is that a lot of, and honestly, I will admit this is me being nitpicky for what I can get with a zero budget.
Yeah.
But a lot of low budget composers for films love doing synthwave because it's cheap and you can do it by yourself and not have to really try too hard. And so I'm, for some of you may know, I'm working on my next short film right now, and all of the people who have been sending me stuff to, kind of put their hat in the ring for being composer have been sending me synthwave even after I sent them the script, even after I told them what it's about, even after I told them what kind of tone I'm going for. None of which does synthwave fit.
Yeah, it really doesn't.
So that is why I don't like synthwave. I don't like it for how readily available it is and how it's the only thing available for people like me.
For me personally, I love synthwave. It's great. I do think it is cheap and easy to do, so anybody could literally do it, and that's kind of its big flaw. But for the one I've got is actually somewhat movie related. This is going to be called Mr. Kitty After Dark, and it's on YouTube. It's from Diana Sandra. That's what I'm assuming the name is. Assuming could be bad, but here we are. The thing about this video is the person who posted this video, they didn't make the song. They didn't make the video. What they did was they put the song and they put this movie, which is a Jennifer Connelly film called Career Opportunities. And they put the scenes where they're in Target after hours and they're roller skating around and they're doing all these things. And it flows so stupidly well that it shouldn't for no reason. And it is a very enjoyable video to just vibe with your synthwave little melodies and just have a good time. So there it is, Mr. Kitty After Dark from the Diana Sandra page on YouTube.
Oh, fun. So my plug for this week, Glenn.
Yes.
Other than movies, what is something that I love?
Food.
Other than movies and food, what is something that I love?
Peanut butter.
Other than movies, food, and my dog misses
Music.
peanut butter. Okay. What country do I love?
Ireland.
Aaron Gobrach. The same studio that made Song of the Sea, Secret of the Kells, Breadwinner, they have a movie coming out that is going to be released on Apple TV Plus, and it is called Wolf Walkers, as they typically do with everything but Breadwinner. It is based in Irish folklore, and at least that's what I gathered from the trailer. I could be completely wrong on that.
Yeah.
But my plug is the trailer, which is amazing because it is Ireland. It is Cartoon Saloon, which is the company that makes those movies. And then it is a movie trailer.
Yeah,
so
it's everything.
That is going to be the trailer for Wolf Walkers. And if this doesn't win the best animated feature John, that I can't think of, then I don't know what will. Because, Disney can go kick rocks for how they're treating theaters right now.
Yeah, they're shit Johns.
They're shit Johns. So, Wolf Walkers, trailer, YouTube. That's my plug for this week.
All right.
She's one of them wolf walkers.
Wolf walkers?
The ones that can talk to wolves with some wild magic.
You can come out now. We can smell ya. You stink. You're a wolf walker. You're a wolf when you sleep. What? a girl when you're awake.
So that is my plug for this week. That brings us to our assignment for next week. It is the last week of our spooktacular, Glenn.
It
It's
is.
the last week, and that means it is the last time for Netflix Roulette to try to spook us.
Disgusting.
Do you think it will spook us this week?
I think it'll always spook us in the wrong ways.
The last time they tried to spook us was with Veronica, which was pretty spooky. So we are going to spin the Netflix roulette wheel. For those of you who don't know how it works, we spin it 3 times and pick the best one or the one we're most interested in out of those 3 movies. So without any further ado, my genres are all set to horror, and I'm going to do my first spin on the absolutely real physical wheel and not some program.
Even listen to it. Just listen to it.
These are the real sound effects for it.
The realism.
We can't do this one. It's Under the Shadow. We've already watched it.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm going to spin it again.
Damn, that's a good one.
Uncle Najee in UAE. It is I'm assuming it is a United Arab
2019.
Emirates.
It is on Netflix just specifically. It's an hour and 35 minutes. It's a 5 out of 10 on the IMDb.
Yep. And it is about Najee decides with his friends to go on holiday to a mountainous region. They face many funny and strange comedy situations, but unexpected moments happen to turn their oh my god. But unexpected moment, this has to be written by someone who English is their second language, which is better than me. So, but unexpected moments happen, turned their funny journey to horror. It's trying to say that it's a horror comedy, is what it is. Directed and written by Ahmed Zain, starring Mohammed Al-Kendi, Aliyah Al-Manai, Ibrahim Al-Mirasi, and Tariq Al-Muhari. Hari, I butchered those names, so I apologize. But that is Uncle Najee in UAE. So spin number 2. Kolayurther Kalam. Oh boy. So how do you
2 out of 3 going great.
Oh great.
A young woman has to defend herself from a slasher all alone in her palatial estate.
Do you want to? I still haven't pulled it up because I'm having some
I'm
issues.
trying to figure out. Oh my god! Wait till you see that score. This is a drama thriller directed by Chakri Toledi, and I'm already going to butcher these, so I apologize way ahead of time. Written by Sarah Badinar, Adam Haliber. Oh my god! I'm sorry. I'm not doing that. I'm not going to keep pronouncing these names. Oh, she's got one name. Whoever that is. Is that a chick?
Nyanthara?
She's only got one name. She's Cher. Yeah, that's Cher, dude.
That's Cher, dude. But yeah, that is a 2.6 on IMDb.
Yeah.
So we'll keep that in mind while we move on to movie number 3. Stree. It looks like we're going with a foreign movie this week.
Yeah, it really didn't want to get out of that area.
So, in the small town of Shanderi, the menfolk live in fear of an evil spirit named Stree, who abducts men in the night. Based on the urban legend of Nalaba that went viral in Karnataka in the 1990s. It is written by Raj Nidimore, Krishna DK, Summit Aurora, Pawan Soni. It is directed by Amar Kaushik, starring Raj Kumar Rao, Shraddha Kapoor, Panjak Tripathi, and other people. I'm not even going to try.
So far, that has the best rating, and it is 2 hours, which isn't super overwhelming. I mean, the other 2 are basically almost not unheard of exactly, but like the first one's definitely like all new actors. At least they don't even have a real IMDb, I don't think.
Yeah.
The second one's just got a critically fucking dampering score. And then this one seems to be okay. Stree.
Yeah, I guess.
So.
Oh, it's a Bollywood movie, so we're going to see some singing and dancing.
Yes. Heck, we haven't done a Bollywood movie yet, so
We haven't. I'm not 100% thrilled about it, but
yeah.
who knows? Maybe it'll impress me.
Netflix got us with this one.
Netflix gave us the real spook was on us having to watch one of these movies. So I guess we're going with Stree.
I think we're going with Stree.
All right. So our assignment for next week is Stree from 2018 on Netflix.
स्त्री के बारे में क्या पता है आपको?
कई साल पहले शहर में एक सुंदर आकर्षक वेश्या हुआ करती थी। शहर का हर पुरुष उसके सपने देखा करता। आखिर उसको एक ऐसा मर्द मिला जो उसके शरीर से नहीं उसकी आत्मा से प्यार करता था। सच्चा प्यार।
Yeah. So thank you everybody for listening. You can check out our website, KeystoneFilmReview.com, on Instagram, Keystone_Film_Review, Twitter, Keystone_Film, Facebook, Keystone Film Review, YouTube, Keystone Film Review, and on Letterboxd, I'm Mike KFR.
And I am Glenn KFR.
And that will do it until next week when we don't Bollywood dance, because that might be cultural appropriation, but we do enjoy one of their films.
We're gonna dance, Michael.
Okay. You can dance if you want to. You can leave your... Oh, we don't have the rights for that.
Bye.
Okay, bye.